One of the best ways that I can prove to you that flipping your mindset from scarcity to abundance will unlock new potentials in your life, I want to tell you a couple stories. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I've, in the past, flipped my mind from complete scarcity. I'm talking about having less than $1,000 into my account. And then by flipping it to abundance, I was earning hundreds of thousands a month, if not making 80 to $90,000 a week. And I've done this over a period of time over the last couple of years, 3 to 4 times in examples in my life that I'm going to be showing you in this video so that you can do the exact same. So the first way I want to go ahead and break this down, as I was thinking about this video, was an article that I was studying when I used to work with Bob Proctor, and we were in his inner circle. And one of the things we used to study was this article called "The Hidden Power" by Thomas Troward. Now, if you don't know who Thomas Troward is, Thomas Troward was Bob Proctor's mentor. He would study these articles. I remember I spent $10,000 to be in this program with him, and we would study this article every single week. It was almost $1,000 per call, and we would read the same things over and over again. And now I'm not going to go over this entire article right here, but it's now almost 4 years later, it still impacts my life. So what I did, I threw into ChatGPT, and here's the biggest takeaway I want you to understand, my brother and sister watching this video right now. There's a thing called entering into the mechanics of a thing and entering into the spirit of it. Okay, and I found this in my life that recently I've been really into the mechanics of my business. Right, I'm wanting to grow my YouTube channel. I want to take my business to hit a new record and do $300,000 in a month with our new launch that we have coming in. And I noticed that I was falling too much into scarcity. I was getting too involved in the outside world and the webinar and our funnel and the steps and our YouTube content, posting more content. I was working hard, which you're going to know the difference that you are going to have to work. But my mindset was so much focused on the material world and the projection that it was affecting my internal state. And I started to close off my mind to abundance. That anytime that I quantum leaped in my life, hitting records of 85,000 in a week, 30,000 in a day, it all went in the most effortless way because I had subconsciously flipped my mind to abundance. So let's go ahead, before I break down how to actually do this with our stick figure and our drawing here, I want you to understand the difference between entering into the mechanics of your project and entering into the spirit of it. So here's our ChatGPT summary because I'm not going to read the whole article for you. So what does it mean entering into the spirit of something? The phrase refers to to be fully engaged with enthusiasm and creativity in any task or activity, whether it's work, play, study, and the spirit with which one approaches something determines the outcome and its personal satisfaction. So when you're going after a project, so I don't care what you're working on, you can be a forex trader, you can be a coach, you can be a content creator, it doesn't matter what business you're in. My clients are in all types of businesses. That means that when you're going after your project, you're going into it with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement. It's a spiritual excitement that gets you up in the morning. I'm getting the chills thinking about this. It's not about just mechanical work. And there is a place for mechanics and offers and funnels and stuff. And I'll tell you the difference between them. So here's why this is important. Why I believe that by flipping to the abundance mindset, which is exactly what we're covering in this article, will unlock everything for you. So here's why it's important. Entering into the spirit of a thing brings vitality. It brings life, interest, and purpose. It's about living fully rather than mechanically and superficially. So balance between the spirit and the mechanism. Okay. So entering into the mechanism is getting into the mechanics of something, right? I don't care what business you're in, you're doing something mechanical, right? You're posting content, scripting, running ads, running funnels, taking a trade, right? You're doing something mechanical, but that's only 5% of your success. If you've been watching my channel for some time, you know that the conscious mind controls 5% of our results, right? Our knowledge and our action, and our subconscious and our feelings behind what we're doing controls 95%. Like I tell my clients all the time, it's not the action you take, it's the frequency from which you take that action. So here's the balance between entering in full spirit and excitement and enthusiasm, aka abundance into something, versus being too mechanical. So try to contrast that spirit with mechanism. While mechanical methods and systems are necessary, so it is required for you to go build that webinar, build those ads, build those funnels, take those trades, learn a new skill set. It is necessary, but they should not dominate your life. True progress comes from balancing mechanical precision with spiritual creativity. And I'm going to break this down in a minute when I get on this iPad and I draw out exactly how I have been too much into the mechanics of it. And this is recently, just like up until last night, and how I'm going to flip it back and you're going to see the results and how you can do the same for yourself. So scientific and spiritual understanding. He argues that real knowledge goes beyond mechanical facts to understand the spiritual principles behind them. This applies to both science and daily life living, and I'll show you exactly how to apply this in a second. So, practical application. By entering to the spirit of creativity and recognizing the divine creative power within, we can overcome limitations, gain insight and success. Love, wisdom, and interconnection, conviction guide this process. And the ultimate goal is the highest aim is to realize unity with the divine creative spirit, leading to a life of freedom, love, and endless power. Okay, so that was an article we used to study all the time with the late great Bob Proctor when we were in our studies. So I'm going to go ahead and hop here to the whiteboard. I'm going to show you exactly how I've done this in the past and how I'm going to do this now, so you can apply this to your life and your business, and you can quantum leap to the next level. So without further ado, let's get to the whiteboard here. Okay, so we have two things that we can do. We can enter into the mechanics of something. Let's see. I got to go to share my iPad here. And by the way, let me know if you guys like these kind of videos like this, right? All right, we got the whiteboard up. Here we go. All right, so we have entries into the mechanics of something, and then we entering into the spirit of something. So we're talking about taking action base or raised to the frequency of a certain thing. Okay, so let's just say you're going to be writing a webinar. You're writing some new content for your content. You're making a new program. You're taking a trade, right? You're going to be doing that action, but the question is, are you taking it to the degree of a frequency of scarcity or a frequency of abundance? That is the key here. And so I'm going to break down exactly how. So one of the first stories I want to implement and tell you about how I did this was when I first started with Bob Proctor. Okay. So when I first started with Bob Proctor, I was $10,000 in credit debt. So like the creditors were calling me. This is back in 2020 when I first started with him. I had a negative balance of $5,000 on my grandpa's credit card in order to work with Bob Proctor, and I had a monthly payment of $3,000 a month that I had to pay, which I had no way of paying it. And I had about $1,000 in my bank account. This is during COVID time. So the outside world was showing me that nothing in my life was going in my direction. But what I had learned to do was I learned to take all this, and even though the outside world screamed scarcity, I was able to flip it to abundance. And what ended up happening was I ended up scaling to $101,000 that month. This is the month of April 2020. And then the following month, I did $240,000 in cash collected in the month of May 2020. So that was the first time. How can somebody go from this situation here, living in complete scarcity in the outside world, then flipping to the abundance mindset, and then going from $101,000, which I've showed you guys plenty of times on the YouTube channel. I don't want to like edit this video too much, so it's going to be more raw, but you guys have seen the screenshots. If you don't believe me, just go watch another video, and I've shown the screenshots before, right? I ended up closing the month with $101,000. The following month, I did $240,000. So that was one scenario that I did it. The next scenario was right here on this YouTube channel, Mr. Law of Attraction. Okay. So when I first came here to Dubai, I came to Dubai with about $1,000 to $2,000. So let's just call it 2K. Okay. So I came here with no money. This is after I had earned seven figures. I lost everything, went broke for 2 years, came to Dubai and said I was going to rebuild my life. And so at the time, I was posting on Instagram 3 times a day because I had hired a mentor, Wes Watson. So shout out to him. So he got me back into coaching. So not talking about him as a personality, but at least he motivated me to get back into coaching. So I came to Dubai, started my coaching business back up, which is the mindset stuff, which is the Quantum Leap program that you saw me talk about recently. And so I came here and I was posting, I was working 4 hours per day, posting this content. I was getting absolutely nowhere, no clients over 3 months. Guys, that was very devastating. It ended up getting to the point where I had literally 40 cents in my bank account. And I think I've showed that on the channel before. 40 cents in my bank account. I had to call my grandma up and ask her for a loan. And I was just crying and bawling out because I was trying so hard to get my business off the ground. But no matter what, I kept living in scarcity. I was in a scarcity mindset. So what did I ended up doing to flipping to abundance? And my first month with Mr. Law of Attraction, I went and did, I believe it was like 85,000 in cash and over $100,000 in revenue. Okay. What did I do to flip that again? All right. Like what was happening? How was I able to go from complete scarcity in the outside world, flip my mindset to abundance, and then go and build another $100,000 per month business? It was so strange. And the reason I'm making this video is I found myself in that situation again. So here I am, my YouTube channel at the time is not producing the same amount of leads that I want. Okay. So I'm going to say No, it's not producing the same amount of leads that I want it to. Okay. And in the mechanics of my business, I'm coming up with a webinar where we're going to have a big launch of our new program on thinking to results, right? So I'm taking a lot of action, taking on a lot of information, and I'm doing a lot of work, and I'm putting in a lot of effort. And so that's what my life has been over the last 2 months. And last night I just had this realization that I'm back in scarcity mode again. And scarcity mode in the sense that I'm focusing too much on the outside world. I'm looking at the funnels and the marketing, and I'm spending all my days contemplating the webinar and contemplating my YouTube channel and the need to always post videos. I got to post videos so I can get clients, and I got to post videos so I can help people, right? And I just felt myself, my mindset, not focusing on the abundance of just overflow. Anytime that I had these quantum leaps, it just came effortless and overflow. And as I did a quantum jump meditation last night in my sleep, I realized that I need to flip to the abundance mindset. So, what does that look like here on our stick figure? Okay. So, if you guys have seen me describe this before, I'll do a quick little synopsis. So, this is our stick figure. In the top mind, we have our top part, we have our conscious mind that controls 5% of our results. And at the bottom, we have our subconscious mind that controls 95% of our results. Okay. And then connected to our conscious mind, we have our physical senses: see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. They're like little antennae that allow us to live in the outside world, but they don't control our outside world. This is where our spiritual faculties come in. So I'm going to go ahead and draw them in red. And this is where we have imagination, will, reason, perception, memory, and intuition. Okay, so we have two types of faculties: imaginative, spiritual faculties, which allows us to separate ourselves from other living creatures, and our ability to use these spiritual faculties is what allows us to go into success. And this is the key that we're going to use to flip to the abundance mindset. But if you're not, what's happening is you're looking at the outside world. Okay. So this is the simulation out here. Okay. This is what's going on. This is the amount of views you're getting. This is the information. This is the learning the new skills, taking the trade, doing all the 8 hours, 10 hours of work that you're doing in a day. Right. So you're looking at the outside world and you're getting too caught up in the mechanics of everything. Remember that? So you're doing actions, but the thing is, you're taking actions to the degree of a mechanical being. You're not entering into the spirit of it. You're not flipping to the area of abundance. And so what I started noticing is that my outside world, based on what I was seeing, was like, okay, this is not going the way that I want. And so I was getting emotionally involved in it, which made me taking actions to the degree of the mechanics. And it wasn't fun. And it hasn't been fun, even though I'm working and I'm investing a lot. So that is an issue right there. If you don't flip from here, you're going to be going through an uphill battle. You might be noticing this. You're trying to take your business to the next level. Let's just say you're making 10,000 a month, and it's like pulling tooth and nail to try to go and get an extra client. You're finding yourself on this hamster wheel, trying to post content and get clients and get your agency going, or your trades haven't been hitting recently, right? So it's like something like this. So how can we flip this, man? That's the key here. How do we flip this? Well, we're going to go back here. Let's delete some of this here, clean this up. And the key here is we're going to want to flip to abundance, which we're going to do in red. So the first thing we have to do to flip to abundance is we're going to have to be a generator, okay? A generator. We are going to have to generate the feelings of abundance before the outside world happens, because I talk about this along the channel that the outside world is a projection. We have consciousness, which is our ability to generate ideas, feelings, and emotional frequencies, right? Frequencies. And so what you're really trying to do, let's just say your goal is you want to make 100,000 a month. Okay. What you're really asking is you're really wanting to attract money into your life so that you can generate feelings of love, abundance, freedom, live in the city that you want, buy the car that you want, these kind of things, right? What you're really saying is, DeAndre, I want these feelings of what the money will do for me. So that, you see how that right there and alone won't really make sense, and you'll live in scarcity, because if it's not coming, you'll never have those feelings. So what I'm calling you to do in order to flip to the mindset of abundance, you're going to have to generate those feelings first. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut off our senses: see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And that's the hardest thing a person can do. And I'm going to tell you right now, that will be the hardest thing that you can do. I think it was a James Allen. Yes, it was James Allen who said that the hardest thing a person can do is to think. And then even in Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wattles said the hardest thing a person can do is to think truth despite the contrary, meaning the outside world will be showing you scarcity. And it may not be necessarily like, oh, you're going broke, or things are going bad. It might just simply be that, oh, if you're at 10K a month, to go to 20K a month, you need to hire a new coach and launch new ads and do all these different things, which is true. But remember, we're going to take these actions to the different at a different frequency. So what we're going to have to do is we have to cut off our senses to the outside world, because any intake from the outside world will instantly create scarcity in our mind. It will cut us off from abundance, because you know deep down inside you're spiritual, you're an abundant creature. If not, just pair with God, especially if you're a God-fearing person such as myself. God lives in you and God is ever abundant. You can create so many different things with these hands that you have, but you're not using it because you're siding with the outside world and scarcity. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to side with the side of God and spirit. So we're gonna have to cut off what is creating that scarcity, which is the outside world, cut off our physical senses. And what we're gonna have to do is heighten up our spiritual faculties, imagination, your ability to see what you want despite what's going on in the outside world, our willpower to focus on that idea to the exclusion of everything else. Our imagination will reason, our ability to reason through different things. Like right now, you're watching a video on reasoning. I'm changing your beliefs that living in scarcity and using the outside world to determine your states of feelings and the actions that you're taking will always keep you in a bad place, right? I'm flipping your beliefs around your reasoning. Imagination, will, reason, perception, right? Our perception. So we have perception law polarity states that there's an equal and opposite to every side. You can't have inside without outside. You can't have black without white. You can't have light without dark. So right now we're flipping your perspective. We're flipping from scarcity to abundance. Imagination, will, reason, perception, memory, and then intuition. Our intuition is our ability to download information, because that new next level is going to come from an intuitive download, but you have to be in a place of relaxation, a place of receivership. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off our outside senses, and we're going to have to really, really focus and meditate on this idea of abundance. What does it look like to be abundant? And one thing is you're generating this feeling. So you're going to close your eyes and you're going to feel the abundance first. Anytime, like those stories that I told you right now, anytime I did that, I was generating the feelings of abundance first. I was seeing my calendar fully booked out. I was feeling the abundance, even though there was nothing there in my outside world to show me. And I would meditate on this 2 to 3 times a day, closing my eyes off closing my eyes off to the outside world, because at any time we're living in two worlds, an internal world and an external world. And the outside world, the media, social media, they want you to be involved in the outside world because they suck away your power. Wherever your attention goes, your energy flows, where your money goes. So they want to suck your attention. But what I'm calling you to do in this video is that you're going to have to suck that attention back into the internal world and give yourself the power again by closing your eyes to the outside world and meditating and visualizing yourself and creating a new image of what it's like to be fully abundant. You can do some abundance meditations, and this is what I have lined up for my clients. If you want like the protocol that I give my clients so they can quantum leap, that's going to be the second link in the description. This is how I help my clients go to the next level. So if you're a six-figure earner, you want to go to the next level, I'll teach you exactly the meditations and the protocol to do that. But let's continue here. So 2 to 3 times a day, you're going to meditate on these feelings of abundance, but you're going to have to do it repetitiously until you go in here and convince the subconscious mind that you truly are abundant, even though the outside world is not showing that you are. That's the key. And that could take anywhere from about 2 to 4 weeks. 2 to 4 weeks, I've seen this happening in my own life and in my clients' life. I have over 500 clients that have helped them do this. Okay. So that's why it's not about raw effort, funnels, strategies, and information. It's about flipping your mind from getting involved in the outside world and bringing it back here to the subconscious, right? Bring it back to the internal world. And when you flip it and you keep planting these images with feelings done repetitiously with the correct meditation, the correct coaching protocol, the correct systems of audios that you're listening every single day, your subconscious mind will start to believe that it's real. You'll start to feel the abundance even though the outside world is not there. You almost start to see yourself as like a video game character, right? You have the GTA character that's in the game playing POV. Then you see yourself as a 3D like developer. You start to see that there's a character living in a video game and you have the ability to manipulate it. It's almost like a cheat code. That's the key. Meaning, what does that look like in real life? You're feeling the abundance. You don't need the views. You don't need the sales. You're entering into the things like the sales and learning the webinars, and you're taking it from a new state, a state of this is working, a state of everything is flowing to me. There's no lack. There's no scarcity because you're feeling, and the lens from which you see the world is of abundance. So now what's going to happen is you're going to take new actions, or even better, you're going to take the same exact actions with the same exact information, but now you're going to take it from a degree of a higher frequency, which is of abundance. And the craziest things about anytime I had these, I flipped my mind, I didn't learn any new skills. I was exactly the same person when I had $1,000 in my bank account than when I was making 100,000 a month. I was the same person, no new skill sets, other than I learned to flip this. So now I'm going to take actions to the degree of the new frequency. And what will happen if you hold that state long enough using your willpower, you'll notice that the outside world will begin to shift. And the most important thing, it's going to do this, it's going to come from an unexpected route and it'll be effortless. That's the key here. That's the key to effortless success. This is how we're going to flip ourselves from a scarcity mindset to abundance. You'll notice that it's going to be unexpected. New doors will open, but first, a door will close. It will seem like things are not working out, but if you keep on keeping on, like what I'm saying here, it will, by law, transmute. A new door will open in an unexpected way, and effortlessly the abundance will flow. This is how we're going to take action. We're going to take action from a degree of abundance by meditating on the true abundance that lives within us because God lives in us. We're going to do that long enough till we believe that it's real. And that can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And after a period of time, you're going to start to believe it. And now, as you take the actions, what will happen is you're going to take it from a higher state. Same actions, but from a higher state. It's going to be more fun. It's going to be more effortless. And you'll realize why you were never living that hard or like living that way before. And then you'll never go back. And this is what I've done over the last couple years. And I've noticed myself, even teaching this for a living, that I noticed myself going back into the mechanical world. So this is your call to flip to the spiritual world and flip to abundance. So go ahead and if you take your action steps, if you want to learn how to implement it yourself, what you do, check out the links in the description below. I have a little micro course for the school group. But if you're that high level coach and you want to work with me one on one, you'll hop on a call with me, book a call, and we'll talk about the strategy that you need to take your life to the next level by implementing these laws directly into your business. Because there are certain actions you need to take. There's certain things that we need to cut on meditations, protocols that you need to do to implement to your life. But if you do this on addition, right, to what you're doing already, you're going to notice quantum leaps in ways that can only be spoken by God. And I've lived it and I've seen it so many times that I know that it's true. Do you believe that it's true? Go and do it yourself. This is your man, Miss Law of Attraction. I'll see you in the next video.